What's going on, man? Patrick James here, and today we got another question for raw dating advice. Cue that intro.
Okay.
Alright, so this question got submitted to me by a guy named Carson. Badass name, Carson. He asked me, I have a tendency to be shy, awkward, timid, and overthink around women I find attractive. What are your best suggestions to help me overcome those habits? All right, thank you for this question, Carson, and I completely understand where you're coming from. You see, a lot of the guys who come to me for advice, a lot of the guys who are just getting started with, putting themselves out there and attracting women struggle with being shy, timid, and overthinking. And in fact, those three things are probably the three causes of them not getting any success with women up to this point in their life. So with that in mind, if you were to overcome these three things that you think are holding you back with these women, then essentially you'll have nothing holding you back with women and you will start seeing another level of success in your own dating life. So I'm gonna make this video quick because if you're shy and you're timid and you overthink around women, it all comes down to basically two things. One, you're so dependent on this outcome. You really like this girl and you see her as something that is above you. You see her as something that's out of your league, so you get awkward, you get nervous, you don't want to f it up, right? You're a little bit outcome dependent on this girl that you see as someone who's out of your league. That's one. And number two, you care way too much what other people around you think. You care way too much about your potential reputation and maybe it up. And I'll tell you what, when I first started attracting women and going out and really putting myself out there a lot and applying dating advice in my own life multiple years ago, I had the same underlying fears. The only thing is I didn't let these fears hold me back from actually talking to the women that I wanted to and the women that I was attracted to. And here's the thing that I learned is all of your worst fears around women never seem to happen, right? If you fear that she's going to publicly shame you or she's gonna reject you and all your friends are gonna make fun of you and everybody's gonna see, holy crap, that guy was just really awkward and got shot down, like that's really embarrassing, and it's gonna feel like your life is over. But here's the thing, here's the secret. That never happens. Ever. In fact, I can only think of one time out of the thousands of women who I've approached and talked to, right? Cold approach, social circle, doesn't matter. One girl ever cussed me out for coming up to her and trying to spit game at her, right? One girl. And in fact, it was so outside of the norm that she looked crazy in that environment and I couldn't do anything but laugh, right? It was funny to me because that was my worst fear and it was happening, but it wasn't embarrassing. It didn't feel bad. In fact, it was kind of a funny situation because I didn't know anybody could overreact that much. And that's only happened to me once. So unless you approach thousands of women, it's probably never gonna happen to you. So here are my 3 tips to overcome this really quickly, because if you follow these 3 tips I'm about to give you, like literally, you're gonna be past this stuff in less than a month. I guarantee it, Carson. So first thing is you need to be more present. If you're more present, you're not thinking about the outcome in the future. You're not thinking about what could happen and what couldn't happen and all these things that could potentially tarnish your reputation. You're not worried about that stuff. You're not fearful about that stuff if you're more present to the current moment, all right? So obviously, the best way to become more present is just to start meditating every single day. Now, you don't have to meditate for 20 minutes a day. A lot of people recommend it, but if you could just commit to 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes, either right before you go to bed or right when you wake up, that will be enough to help you practice being more present to the moment. And when you meditate and when you're practicing for 5 minutes being present, you're not trying to clear your mind. You're just observing your thoughts. Whatever thoughts come into your head, you just let them go by. You let them come and let them go, but you don't latch onto them. That's the whole point of meditation. And if you can commit to just 5 minutes, I guarantee it'll help literally half of the problems that you're either fearful about or that you're currently experiencing. All right, so that's the first one, is become more present. And even in the moment when you're talking to those girls, if you want to just snap yourself into the present moment, just think to yourself one question. What is my next thought going to be? What is my next thought going to be? If you can think that, literally it's a question that your own mind into snapping itself into the present moment, because you have no clue what your next thought is going to be. You only know what your current thought is. And that's a freeing moment because you know that your current thought is focused on the future that hasn't happened and likely won't happen, and you'll know it's bullshit, okay? So what is my next thought going to be in 5 minutes of meditation every single day? You gonna commit to that? You gonna commit to that? Cool. So the second thing I want you to do is focus on your emotional state. The reason you get timid, the reason you get fearful, the reason you feel shy and awkward is, it starts with your presence and it starts with your fears and your thoughts, but that affects your emotional state. So if you can control your presence and you can control your emotional state, you're attacking this problem from all different angles, all right? So to control your emotional state in the moment, not only do you have to be more present and get rid of the negative thoughts, but you also have to have control over if you're feeling stressed out, if you're feeling afraid, or if you're feeling happy and awesome and positive, all right? So you can control that. And one exercise that I always recommend, and it's been so powerful for me just to control my own emotional state in the moment, is cold showers. Because just think about it. If you turn your shower, the cold knob, all the way up and you don't turn on any hot water at all, one, it's not gonna be so freezing that it's gonna kill you. And two, right before you jump in, you're gonna feel all this fear. You're gonna feel all this resistance to getting into that shower and letting it pour down upon you. But what you don't realize is that fear that you have before you jump into the shower is the exact same anxiety and fear that you have before approaching a girl who you think is really hot, okay? That's the same fear. And if you can constantly practice overcoming that same fear and that same anxiety by jumping into a cold shower, approaching a girl is gonna be nothing, right? Because you've already done that. You've already practiced that every single day like you're practicing your meditation, all right? So cold showers and meditation. And then the last one is, I want you, and this is a challenge, I want you to do something that publicly embarrasses you every single day for a month. Back in the day when I first started, when I was kind of shy, when I was kind of awkward, when I was kind of timid, when I didn't get that many girls, I had a lot of the same fears that you do. We've already established this. But I also pushed myself to be more embarrassed, to push my comfort zone socially so that I could overcome this. And so I would do things like I would walk into the bar, and the first thing I would do before I talked to anybody, before I went to the bar, right when I got in the front door, I would drop down to the ground and do 25 push-ups and stand up and go, "Ole!" Right? It's publicly embarrassing, it's kind of funny, and you think that everybody's gonna judge you negatively, but nobody really cares. That's the thing. You're gonna learn when you do something that publicly embarrasses you for 30 days straight, nobody gives a shit, all right? So you don't have to worry about like other people seeing you get rejected, because at the end of the day, they don't care. Like if a streaker ran down the street, he was butt naked and he's running around looking like a chicken with his head cut off and, you know, just acting a fool butt naked in public, what would happen is people would notice it, they would go, "Oh, that guy's streaking." And then they would go back to living their boring lives and forget about it, right? 1 week later, they wouldn't even remember that guy, right? So one question to put this into perspective is whenever you find yourself fearful about what other people think about this. Will this situation, will this thing matter 5 years from now? Most likely the answer is no. And if the answer is no, then you realize that you shouldn't be worried about it either. And if you can push your comfort zone every day for 30 days by doing something that embarrasses you, and you become present, and you're controlling your emotional state, you, my friend, after literally 1 month, will no longer be shy, timid, awkward, or any of those things around women. Hope that helped, man. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and subscribe to Raw Dating Advice. Join the family today. And if you have any future questions or topics that you want to see featured in other videos coming up tomorrow or the day after that, I've set up a page down below where you can ask me your questions directly. And like I said, those could be featured on a future video of Raw Dating Advice. On that note, I'm going to see you later, man. Peace out.